Hi Stampers! Today we're going to make or do a technique called I'm calling Framelit Puzzle, and basically it's putting different pieces into a frame, so pretty much building a puzzle. My first inspiration for this card was this beautiful rose that I had seen online that I saw it in red, and so I made it in yellow. And the technique is done the same way, but this one takes probably a good half hour to piece it all together. So I thought I'd show you the shortened version, but you can do the same technique on this card. I'm using the Rose Wonder stamp set and framelits, and for the rose I used this big piece, and for the leaves, the one that we're making now, the card we're making now, is this one, and we're using just the leaf part. So I have run it through a couple times on the Big Shot. The first one I did it in black, and I took out all the pieces. It's hard to see. Like that. And then the second time I ran it through the using a green or old olive, and the third time I'm running it through and on rich raspberry. So I have run this through already. So what I'm going to do, and this is sort of the technique part of it, is I'm taking a post-it note, and they do have post-it notes that are completely sticky on the back, but this is all I have, and you can also use the removable tape, but the removable tape is pretty tacky, so the post-it notes actually work the best. So we're just using the back of the post-it note, the sticky part, and you leave the framelit on the little piece that you're using, and this is cut out specifically for we'll be using this outside frame for something else as well. So here's the sticky part. I'm sticking it on there like so. Now you can remove the framelit, and you do that for each of the colors that you'll be filling it with. So in other words, you don't need to do that for the black, you just need to do it for the other colors. So I did it for the raspberry and for the old olive. The next step, basically the first step, is taking your black outline frame, and you'll put it on a silicone pad, and I found this works the best. And take your Tombow glue, and you can do this with a toothpick or just do it directly depending on your hand with the Tombow. And you just make little dots, teensy weensy little dots, just tiny tiny squeeze like that throughout the whole piece. And you want to do that first, set it aside to let it dry so that it becomes tacky, but yet it will still stick to your project. That way, if you use just the Tombow and then put it on your card right away, the glue tends to ooze out, and then you have to use your glue eraser and it just becomes a big mess. Another suggestion that I'd like to make is when I use my we call it green glue, but our Tombow glue, I take just a little container or a shot glass or anything that the little Tombow will fit in, and I put in a wet wipe, baby wipe, and take off the cover and leave it like that for my entire time that I'm doing projects. And this works well for any kind of project. And it won't dry out. I've forgotten to put it away, and the next day it still is fine. The wipe is actually still wet, and it helps the glue to flow without having to squeeze too hard. Okay, back to the project. So we'll take our raspberry, and we're going to gently peel off the outside piece. And so you'll just have the frame. And I did this with the black, and this is a card that I came up with, so you'll be able to use all your pieces for any card, so the outside, the insides, and you get a lot of mileage out of these couple cuts. Okay, so the next thing is you basically are wanting the insides of your cutout. So gently peel off, and you see the way how nicely that sticks to the post-it note? So you'll gently peel this off, and the reason you want to do this is even with these little bitty pieces, they tend to, if you put them in wrong, they won't be in there nicely. So you just have your little leftovers there, and we will be using this piece for part of the project as well. You'll do the same thing with the old olive. Peel it off. And when you work on your rose one, this is the same thing you'll do. You'll take off the border. Alright, it helps if I had nails. And I have found that if you start from the top to the bottom, it works better. There we go. A pokey tool works. And then again, you're just holding down these pieces so that they stay put, so you know where to get them from. And this is where a full sheet of post-it note works the best, because then you know that it'll stay put. There we go. And again, we'll be using this for part of the project as well. Doesn't look like much, but it makes a big difference when you're working on a bigger project. Okay, so we have our piece of white cardstock. This is 3 3/4 by 5 for this project. And we're going to take our piece that we have the glue on. This piece is just about dry, but the rest of it is fine. So you can just take your finger and set it up, or grab it, and we're just going to stick that right there, like so. Okay, now if you don't have, I have this cool little tool. It's called a pick-me-up. It's a silhouette tool. You can find this either, I got mine online, you can find them in the stores. They really are a nice thing. If you don't have one, and it has a pokey thing on one side, a little scoopy thing on the other side of this end. On this end, this is tacky, and so you'll be able to pick up your pieces. If you don't have one of these, a toothpick with the green glue, just a dot of it, let it dry and it'll be tacky and you'll be able to pick it up with that. But this just seems to work very nicely for me. Okay, so we're going to take our Tombow, just put just a little bit inside of each of our holes. And when you're working on the bigger project, you don't want to do the whole thing. You want to just work in sections. It's just easier. Okay, so I'm going to start with the green one on top. And you just, this one's a little tackier than I'm used to. So, okay. So then you hold it like that and just stick it right in there. And if any glue oozes out, you can come back with your eraser. So I'm going to put the green up there and a green on the bottom. See, this is pretty tacky, but again, you know where they came from. And use your little sticky thing. And this way they fit perfectly. I don't know if you can see this on this one, but right here, this I must have turned it upside down. And so you have a little teensy-weensy bit of white. And that's what happens when you put them either in the wrong spots or they're upside down. Okay, one more green here. Oops. Alright, give me grief. Shove it in there. Okay, and now we're going to take our raspberry pieces and same thing, just grab it off of here. Come on, like so. And then this piece. There. And that's how you get this design so that you could do this in the bigger version on your on your rose card. And that you saw it didn't take long, but trying to show you how to do this, why I'm not showing you how to do the entire rose, because it would just take too long to do. But that's all this is, are two different colors of rose, and yellows. This one is Crushed Curry and Hello Honey, and then Mossy Meadow and Old Olive. So back to this card. So now that we have our pieces all together, you see it's nice and tacky, or not tacky, but it's down there nicely. And I'm using a stamp set, a stamp from the Rose Wonder, the Thank You, and we're just going to put that right there. Give it a good push. And then I will take the piece of 2x3 and 2x4 and we're going to put it right there, but I wanted to have a little banner on it, so we're using our banner punch and just shove it all the way in. We have our banner right there, and I just use the green glue just because I have it, and we'll stick it right there. Okay. And then we just assemble our card. Sorry about the dog. And we'll put this piece on. And then for just a little bit more interest, I did use one of the pieces. I did use this piece, and instead of putting it on the whole thing, I just took a part of it. I cut off the bottom of the stem, and then I put the glue on like we did before, just little tacks of glue. Again, you want to let this dry though. And then you'll just put it onto the card. You just stick it on there now. But by doing it while it's wet, see how that gushed out? That's what you want to avoid. So if you let it sit, then it won't do that. And then this little piece I put on the inside of the card. And I just set it on the inside like so, glued it in, put it on, and you have a nice card. There you go. I hope you try it with the bigger rose. That would be interesting to see how you find it to be. Enjoy your card making and have a great day. Thank you.